Good evening. Today is Monday, December 6th, 2021, regular session of the Board of School Trustees of the School City of East Chicago. The time is now 6:03 p.m. This place, School City of East Chicago Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street. And that's in East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. This meeting is being shown via live stream at scec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Can we please have roll call?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Present.
Trustee Gomez?
Present.
Trustee Williams?
Present.
Trustee Smith?
Present.
Chairman Hernandez Orange?
Present. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Can I please have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
Madam President, I move to approve item C1.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Ms. Diane, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange?
Yes. The next item on the agenda is presentation, and that is the English Language Department and Superintendent Billing. Dr. Billing.
We are committed to continuing to share with the public all of the great things that are happening here in School City of East Chicago. Tonight we have our own Ms. Piskel, who's going to present English language learners. She is our Director of English learners. Thank you. I apologize.
All right, thank you. Let's see if you can hear me well without this mask or with the mask on. So I came on board in September, early September, in the position of Director of EL. And so there's been a whirlwind of fabulous things happening. So we're going to share that today. So just a little bit about our program. The English Learner Program has actually been in existence about 50 years over time in different kinds of programs, starting in a bilingual program, transitioning to a SIOP model now. And I'll talk a little bit more about where we're looking to go from here. Okay, the EL program currently serves about 555 students. Okay, we have about 3,300 students in the district totally. And so just to give you an idea of about how many of those are identified as English language learners. The current model that we're using is called SIOP, which is Sheltered Instruction Observational Protocol. And I'll kind of give you a little bit more about that in some slides coming up. All right, and so just talking about sort of the vision of the program and kind of what it looks like now. So the vision is really a holistic approach. We're involving students, teachers, and families working together within the district. The mission and kind of vision here is to make sure that those students are growing in their language acquisition. So their primary language is Spanish, and they're coming to us to get support for them to transition into being more fluent in English. Okay. And sort of right now, we're looking at three things. We want to seek effective ways to help those students in our K-12 program. We want to support those classroom teachers. They're the ones who have contact with them every day. We also want to improve the academic performance. So even though we're teaching them in English, their primary language is in Spanish. So there's a slight disconnect there. And that's where we're looking at some futuristic, maybe program shifts to come to really help bridge those gaps. Also, family and community involvement is huge. It's part of the grant and part of what we look to do. Every school in the district, the elementary, middle school, and high school all have family engagement activities. They're all documented with sign-in sheets, activities, agendas, everything like that to show that we are supporting families as well. So this is the super team. We have in the district EL specialists that are highly qualified teachers. They have extensive experience and they also are there with genuine hearts to help the students. We have Josephine Hernandez as Central. We have Veronica Ayala at Block. Rosie Hamilton is the newest addition to the team, and she is at McKinley School. Miss Ava Bell is at Harrison, and Martha Purcell splits between Washington and Lincoln School. And the reason for that split is that those numbers really weren't having a full-time person at either building. So here's a snapshot of sort of where we have our students within the district and how they're spread out. Central has 138 students who are labeled English language learners. Block has 100, Lincoln 15, Washington 53, Harrison has 116, and McKinley is our largest, and I'm not sure why technology is fabulous. McKinley has 133. Okay, so our elementary school with the most is McKinley, and we've had to do a little bit, coming to our next slide now, the challenges that we've been having are, one was personnel. When I came into the position, we were in need of extra support at each building. Aside from the EL specialist, we needed some paraprofessionals that were dedicated to servicing those students. So I've been working with HR, Mr. Doctor, also Cindy Castro, to really look at who we can pull in, who we might already have some access to, you know, and we were able to, here, and the personnel tells us we have currently filled 2 of those positions. One, we had to shift a person from Washington to move them to McKinley. We got a new hire for McKinley. She is an East Chicago resident. We like to kind of pull from the community first. And also we have 2 remaining slots, which are having people sort of in the track already, in the pipeline for that. One was going to be on today's board meeting, but I think they'll be on the next. We have an interview coming probably later this week for the second. So we look to be fully staffed by January 2020 in the EL department. Okay. When we look at student growth, we know that all around the country, because of COVID and having, you know, students be quarantined and try to do online learning, we know that there's opportunities for growth. And what we want to do is really be optimistic this year that we're going to see growth from last year's WIDA. WIDA is a test that we take every year, and it gives us scores, proficiency levels for our students. Every January we take that again, so soon that's coming up, and we're looking to see growth between last year's scores to this coming year's scores. We also did implement a program called Elevation. Elevation is a platform that is helping the EL specialist write the ILPs, the individual learning plans, for each student. So just imagine there's a few hundred students within our district in general. This program is helping the teachers write those ILPs, as well as we're going to start training at each building. All the teachers within the building will have access to this program, which is then going to give them support to work with English language learners in their classroom. So it's going to give them a variation of scaffolding, supports, strategies, lesson plans. So we do have that program, and that's going to be implemented with teachers training in each building in January. Now, when we come to curriculum and assessment, what I mentioned before was that we are teaching the students in English. They don't understand English. So then what we're seeing is that their grades and their acquisition of the language are kind of pixelated. If we think of a picture that's not very clear, okay, think of a pixelated picture, that's kind of what's happening with some of our students. So there's been some talk with different buildings as well as the EL specialists as well to think about where should the program go from here. If in its current state it's not servicing our students like we need that to happen, then what should we be doing? And I've had some talks as well with Dr. Finley to look at a dual language immersion program. So we would be able to support them with their native language of Spanish while they're transitioning over to being proficient in English. Okay, so we're going to be just doing some research. There's also a grant opportunity through the state that could help us fund a year of planning for that, and that's going to be coming up in 2021 in May due. So we're going to just be researching that to really see how the program should sort of evolve from here. So when we look at solutions to some of the challenges that we've had over time, we were able to get elevation implemented. Like we said, that's going to be giving support to the teachers in each of the buildings. It's giving support to the EL specialists in each building to write those ILPs, the individual learning plans. Those are legal documents that have to be done for every student. Also, each building is going to have training for their teachers. SIOP is the model that we're currently using now, so we can't just, leave that. Our teachers are being trained right now. Our deadline was to have it done before our winter break. So teachers in all the buildings are getting trained with SIOP. So those are strategies, like kind of 8-step strategies that teachers can use really for any student. It's not just for EL learners, it really is across to be able to help instruction for all students. And also, like I just kind of went into detail, one of our solutions to look at really helping student achievement within our EL population really see growth, accelerated growth. We're looking at really program evaluation, thinking about how maybe something like dual language, even if it's just piloted at one building or maybe 2 buildings, Harrison and McKinley have the largest population. So we're pondering that thought right now, and it would be a gradual kind of increase in grades, not just the whole school is doing it, but looking at really doing it well. So our next steps coming up in January, we're going to be giving the WIDA testing. Remember, that's the test that we give once a year for our students to look at growth in their native language and their language acquisition of English. Also, elevation training, we're going to have at every building. That's coming up. Some of the training I'll do, other buildings, the EL specialist will handle that training. Also, we're starting already now looking at the program evaluation and looking at that dual language immersion kind of exploration, where everything that we're going to do with that is going to be data-based. And we're going to look at what the research is saying that's out there, as well as going to observe in districts who are already doing it well. Not just someone who's doing it, but someone who's doing it well and seeing success with their students. Okay. And also mirrors our population, right? It could work really well somewhere that doesn't really mirror our population here in East Chicago. So also in the 2022-2023 school year, Indiana is giving grant money for planning to happen. And so we're going to explore that, and that's the site that would tell you a little bit more about that. Okay. So I'm open to any questions that you have. So please, any questions, any wonderings, any comments? I'd love to hear them.
Any questions from the board?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
how would you compare this to, for example, what's going on in Hammond School District?
Hammond is using the dual immersion language program currently right now, and I believe they might be in about year 2. Last year was a little different, right? But I think they're in about year 2 to year 3. They already have their planning year with that, and so they're a few steps ahead of us on that in that process. But it would be the same program.
Do you happen to know, is there additional compensation for the individuals who are involved in this program?
Currently, right now, it would just be a shift in how they're doing things. It would be their current contract, their current positions. So we're not looking at any additional pay or money. It's going to be encompassed in their job descriptions. It's just a different way to do the same thing, really.
It takes skill though, and so I personally feel that people who are involved in this program should be compensated for that skill. Separate subject from what we're talking about.
Right.
That's why I put it out there.
Right. No, that is an idea, and that may mean some of our personnel would have to shift because you would have to have a skill set to really do it well, be in that position to do it well.
Great presentation. Thank you.
I do have 2 questions. When you talk about the individual learning plan, so I think about it special ed, and I know when we put it in our special ed plan, so you have to accommodate what is needed if you find that, it with the means, if we could accommodate it. So is that not how the individual learning plan for the EL students work?
Yes, it is. So they have certain accommodations as well, like English language translating, dictionaries to use, extended time, similar to accommodations that special education students get as well.
So then but the only problem is that I can't, as a parent, say, hey, my child doesn't understand English at all. You're teaching them in English, but I need you to talk to them in Spanish. That we can't put that in the
No, because what if their teacher doesn't speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Right, so we do have at some of our elementaries, middle schools as well, we do have staff that do speak English and Spanish, and so they can support some of those learners, but in other classrooms, we don't have that luxury. So that's where it's hard to write it in when we don't have the staff to support it. But with a program like dual language, then we would make sure that the correct staff is in place to support the program.
Yeah, I remember we used to have it here back in the day when I was younger, because in this building, I was part of that, so that's what I remember, and it worked out for a lot of students that came in. Second question, is Spanish the only language, or English, I guess, do we have any other students that have different languages that don't speak English, but different language?
Right, currently, right now, Spanish is our only language. I know actually neighboring districts just across the Illinois border have like Polish, Arabic, and a lot of different languages, but ours right now is only Spanish.
That's all for me. Any other questions? All righty, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Pisco.
Next, we'll move to the business portion of the meeting. The first item is approval of minutes 10/20/21 and 11/1/21. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I move for approval of item E1.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Any questions? Ms. Bigum, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 2, approval of claim docket. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Gomez seconds the motion. Any questions? Ms. Bigum, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 3, approval of personnel report. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Any questions?
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Next, we'll move to approval of distribution of payroll. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Gomez seconds the motion. Gomez, right?
Yes.
Are there any questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 5, approval of donation report. Dr. Finley?
We've been fortunate enough to receive a lot of donations, really a big $40,000 donation that I will talk about during Superintendent's remarks, if that's okay.
Yes.
But right now, I'm just seeking approval.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Williams seconds the motion. Any questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 6, approval of fundraiser report. Dr. Finley?
We have just a couple of fundraisers. One is for, well, really both of them are for our high school. It's the pre-approval for the history fundraiser, and we also have one for the middle school. So we're seeking your approval at this time.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Williams makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Gomez seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 7, approval of amended contract. Nancy Mahoney. Dr. Finley?
We are seeking to modify the contract that is in your board docs at this time, just to make sure that we are being fiscally responsible at this time. So I'm seeking the board's approval on this amended contract for Nancy Mahoney.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Williams makes a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez?
just moving forward, I opposed this initially, and I think I'm going to oppose tonight as well. What's the plan moving forward post January 2022?
When the person transitioned out of this position, we did have new staff members hired on. She has been training. She was already out of the position. She officially retired from the position. And we hired new people to be in the position. So she's been training them. We're talking someone who's has 30 plus years of experience in working in our data management system. And as we transition from the learning connection, which the Indiana Department of Education once had, to the data exchange, that was not an easy transition for all the state reporting that we have to do from July to June of every single year. So this is a continuous, tedious process. Principals are shaking their head out in the audience because they understand and they know there's a constant back and forth. So it is very important that we had this transition period, but now it's time to transition those 3 people that are in the office now to be able to do the work independently.
And I appreciate that answer. I'm just wondering if there's a if there's a problem in the future post-January, and I think this might have been part of my initial opposition. Isn't there another entity that we can go to get trained, to get our employees trained on this?
Unfortunately, right now with COVID, no. The Indiana Department of Education right now is going through its own changes. Whereas we used to have a very strong, consistent staff there, they have had a huge turnover in employees at IDOE. So we do have what we call a group, a network that we work with collaboratively across the region. So they are tapped into those individuals already. So that's half of the pain point. But just like with every school corp right now throughout the country, specifically because I can relate to this one here, every district I know has had a huge turnover, specifically in positions like these. You're welcome.
So I just wanted to add, Jesse, I know what Nancy Mahoney usually was one of the main things that she did was our student count, as well as a lot of the grade reporting, so forth and so on. Student count happens twice a year, and technically she only went maybe 1 year where she wasn't technically in that position, so she had the training. I did student count when I was at Morton, so I remember the difficulty, and I had to go find a student and all that good stuff. So the fact that we're doing a year plus, I think we'll be fine afterwards. But this is the main thing that gives us money in our district, and I think we just want to make sure that we get it right moving forward. So I just wanted to add that. Are there any more questions? Ms. Brigham?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith? Yes. Chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 8, approval of emergency protective measure COVID-19. Dr. Finley.
I'm actually going to turn this one over to our CFO, Ms. Simmons.
This is actually the FEMA grant that we went out for at the beginning of March. At the beginning of March. And we just actually got awarded a portion of what we asked for.
Thank you very much.
March of 2020.
Thank you very much. Approval. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Any questions? I just want to give a thank you to our attorney, Mr. Harris, and Ms. Simmons. The minute that the measures, the protocols were coming out, Mr. Harris and Ms. Simmons were immediately on it, and I think we started doing the spreadsheets of how much we were giving out since the first day that COVID kind of hit the school district, and I think that's why we had so much detail with the numbers. So thank you very much for getting that done for us. At least we got some money back. Any other questions? Ms. Bigham?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith? Yes. Chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 9, approval of MOU Regional Health System. Dr. Finley.
I'm going to ask that our Director of SEL, Ms. Beckham, handle this item.
Good evening. I am seeking the board's approval for this MOU. Regional Health Center is going to work with our district nurse, Nurse Bobo, with your approval to be able to provide booster shots for any staff that are interested. They would actually come to each building. They would also be able to provide case management for some of our homeless students. They would provide mental and physical screening for those students as well. One issue that we've been having at the high school is lots of substance abuse, and they will be able to provide some substance abuse groups for our students who are having issues in that area. And then they also have resources for some preventative measures and some training for our staff. For example, mental health first aid techniques. And so I'm seeking your approval for this MOU.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Williams makes the motion for approval.
I'll second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Any questions?
I'd just like to say thank you.
No problem. Ms. Bigum, roll call.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 10, approval of snow removal bid. Dr. Finley.
I'm going to ask that our CFO, Ms. Simmons, lead this particular agenda item.
We opened the snow removal bid, if I'm correct, the 17th of November. We had a public meeting with contractors that wanted to get the paperwork on the 22nd of November. We closed the bidding at 1 o'clock on the 1st of December. At this time, we received 2 bids and we went with the most reasonable bid for our district.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes the motion for approval.
I'll second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Williams.
this company here, have they worked with the district before?
This company here has been with the district and I've been here 5 years and it has been with the district.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Ms. Bigum, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 11, approval of virtual learning contract. Superintendent.
We are happy to say that we can finally get virtual learning off of the ground for a small cohort of students. We want to do a soft launch. Earlier this school year, you approved a provider to be able to deliver virtual learning to our students at Mentum. We're now ready to proceed with that next semester in January. This is one of the things I know that our principals have been asking me about. We needed to do some training and there's some other data pieces that we had to take on and we're ready to start in January. This is an actual contract that we're asking you to approve so that parents can understand what's in the students, can understand what responsibilities they have to adhere to in order to continue to participate in virtual learning.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith
Second that motion.
makes a motion and trustee Williams seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Ms. Bigum, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 12, approval of American Rescue Plan Homeless Children and Youth ARP-HCY2 allocations notice.
The Indiana Department of Education has awarded us an allocation in the amount of almost $78,000 to help our homeless students. You just heard Ms. Beckham speak about how there's some supports that we're going to put in place in partnership with the regional health systems. This is some funding to be able to support them. And what does that mean specifically? There's a grant process or there's an allocation that we receive, and now we have to explain to the state how we're going to draw down those dollars. It'll be transportation, clothing, anything that those families need in order to support them on this journey, on unfortunate circumstances of being homeless. These resources we can provide to them.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Williams makes the motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Rodriguez.
who would be managing the grant?
Actually, our Director of Social Emotional Learning, Ms. Beckham, who you just met earlier.
I was gonna actually have a second question, but to back that one up, but I see, I know we're, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's good, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Any other questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 13, approval of Neola contract agreement. Superintendent.
We are seeking to terminate our agreement with Neola at this time and after consultations with our board attorney.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
just so that we have clarification, who will replace Neola?
Well, once we terminate, then we can talk about who we're going to replace them with next. We have an option that we have already discussed as a group. So hopefully we can move forward with that next month after we speak to that potential provider.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. Is there any other questions? Let's take a roll call.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item number 14, approval of Sylvan Learning Center contract. Dr. Finley.
This is a contract for professional services for St. Stan's. We have an allocation that we give to them, or we have to share with them, not give, but share to them with our title resources. And at this time, we are seeking, they are seeking to approve Sylvan Learning as their tutoring service provider. And we have once again done this agreement in consultation with our school board attorney.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval. Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Ms. Bigum, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez on.
Yes, we have no old business. We will now move to curriculum and instructional. And the first item is winter tutoring. Dr. Finley.
So tonight, we want to share with our parents and our community partners and individuals that are here what our plans are for tutoring for next semester. We know that we got off to a very interesting start this school year, so we're getting ready for next semester. And we're going to start with Miss Nancy Sharp, who's going to talk about the elementary school tutoring plans. We have our middle school principal here. By the way, Nancy Sharp is our principal at Lincoln Elementary. We have our middle school principal here, Miss Elsie Quiroga. She's going to talk about the plans for middle school. And we have our high school principal here, Mr. A. Brown, who's going to talk about the tutoring plans for high school. I'm going to turn it over to them at this time.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Nancy Sharp, principal of Lincoln Elementary School, and I'm here to present our elementary tutoring plan. The plan is included in all 4 of our elementary schools. The invitation to all of our tutoring is for all of our K through 6th grade students. So all students are eligible to participate. Students that are targeted below grade level will be those of priority. Parents will be notified of their current student performance, and that way they can make informed decisions on whether they want to send their child to tutoring. The amount of tutoring, a number of students participating will depend on the number of teachers that have decided to apply for the tutoring positions. So that could vary from building to building. The tutoring program is set into 3 different sessions. You can see the dates on the screen. So there's 3 sessions. The last session, we're hoping to specifically address IREAD 3 remediation. By that time, our IREAD 3 score should be out. So this gives an opportunity for students to come in for different sessions. They can attend all sessions, just depending on their performance. If we see a lot of growth in session 1, maybe we bring in someone else for session 2. So it gives a little flexibility for our tutoring. The schedules are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday every week from 3:10 to 4:40. We wanted to allow a little bit of time for students to have a lunch/dinner break, so they get a little bit of a snack after the long day of school. We'll have a full hour of tutoring. Mondays and Tuesdays are designated for reading instruction, and Wednesdays will be for math. We are going to be looking at data coming from iReady and ERLA. IRLA is our reading, one of our reading assessments that we have with our reading program. iReady will give us data for both reading and math. The students will be given flexible grouping. In other words, we will group students according to the skills that they need for tutoring, and also provide hands-on activities. We will have a focused curriculum based on standards and specific items that students need to master. And the instructional coaches will be providing support for the teachers with a daily schedule and outlining standards for each of the sessions. So some of the supports that we have in place for our teachers, teachers will have a team meeting prior to tutoring to go over the curriculum, instructional strategies, and any kind of support that they will have or need. Teachers will receive a daily schedule with the standard focus per day. Teachers will also be given a pre-meeting to support expectations. And of course, the instructional coaches and our Director of Elementary Education will also be available for support. So the timeline, we will be notifying parents of our program next week, beginning on December 13th. The parents will be able to sign their child up for tutoring online, so they won't have to come in or sign a piece of paper. It'll all be like in a Google form to make it nice and easy for them. Beginning in January, we'll notify parents with data and who we will be able to come into tutoring. On the 6th, the teachers will hold an informational meeting, and tutoring begins on the 18th. That's it. Thank you. Any questions?
One is mentioned the early slides that are identified. What happens to those who are 1 year behind or 2 years behind? How do they just prioritize?
Well, in part, it's going to be how many teachers we have for tutoring. We also plan on doing some flexible grouping. So if you're, say, a first grader and you're maybe at a kindergarten level, but you're a second grader and you're also at a kindergarten level, we'll group those kids together. So we want to group kids based on their need and their gaps in their learning so that we can really target those skills. We will be using iReady and IRLA both. We'll measure from.
There's a pre-meeting, that the pre-meeting is not it's the individual. I mean, the pre-meeting is just gonna be the informational meeting?
Yes,
Not
for the
anything
teachers.
individual?
For the teachers.
Okay. And then the Google Forms, parents could come and sign up regardless in the school building. I know some parents still want to do that, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, either way, but it's available, yes.
Got it.
Of course.
Madam President,
Trustee Williams.
I know you say that your measurements is gonna be done, I mean, your data instructions, meaning you're gonna do it through iReady and IRLA, but in the past, tutoring sessions normally is kind of like a after-school program. How are we gonna indicate where we're getting just as vigorous learning as we did in the classroom in the after-school program as well?
Well, the tutoring program is going to be standards-based, so we are using programs that we currently use during the school day. So it'll be like an extension of the school day.
Okay.
So we're using iReady, we use IRLA, all of those programs that we use during the school day will also be used after school.
Now, if you have a first grader and you got four fourth grade teachers, if one of those teachers take that, would they be communicating with those students? I mean, with those other teachers about those students that will be that they don't necessarily teach during the day, but they're in a tutoring program. Are they communicating with each other in regards to what that student needs may be?
You're talking about will the tutoring teacher communicate with the gen ed teacher?
Yes,
the regular
during the
classroom
school
teacher?
day, yes.
Yeah, that's easy enough to do because they're all in the same building.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll all have access to their scores, like for iReady scores and IRLA scores. So they'll be able to really hone in on those as well.
Okay. Thank you.
One more question, I'm sorry. So I see the school day, and I know people always say I'm about sports, and I am, because that helps the students stay in school and be and bring the whole child to fruition. But usually the second half of the year is when there's sports programs.
Yes.
So this is from 3:10 to 4:40. If students want to play something in sports, are you guys going to connect with the coordinator, I guess, so that we can make sure that Tuesdays or what days are going to be for sports and.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did have a discussion about that because I know basketball season will be coming up, and that was one reason why we went with session, like 3 different sessions.
Okay.
So that if we have basketball, say the first session, then those students playing basketball, maybe they'll go to session 2. So
Okay.
that's one reason why we did the 3 sessions, to kind of break up the tutoring, so that if we have kids in sports, they can still participate. And we also talked about having those sports sessions on like Tuesday or Thursdays and Fridays. We'll just have to work out the schedule.
For the days
But the
and
main reason that we went to those 3 sessions were to help with the sports.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right.
Is ours after?
Yes, block tutoring.
No, I'm just saying is our, oh. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this is the plan for Block Middle School. And in the past, we had not offered it to all the kids. Last year, we just offered it like to those who we call it the bubble kids and those who low skills. However, last year, we had the high achievers who wanted also to participate in our tutoring program. So this year, when Dr. Finley talked about we needed tutoring, I said, I'm going to open it to all of them because the high achievers also wanted to participate. So why not? So I'm offering it to all 500 students that we have at Block Middle School, 7th and 8th grade together. So we are planning to notify some the students through the letters and robocalls. We're also telling the teachers, those who really need that extra help, please talk to them, advise them, like during the data talks, as to why they need to go into tutoring. There is not too many teachers who did want to, I guess their teachers want to go straight home, but there's 4 of them that say, hey, Ms. Kuroga, I think I want to help my kids. Is it too late? I said, no, I'm happy. Let's do it. We can do this. Our kids need the help. So this is our tutoring plan and schedule. Block Middle School will be offering ELA and math tutoring. The date that we're going to start is January 18th. The end date is March 17th. Why March 17th? It's before spring break. In the past, when we did have tutoring after the spring break, our population started decreasing. Our enrollment started decreasing. I don't want that to happen. So I figured by the 17th, we'll end the program, spring break. After that, we have iLearn. It will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We thought Monday and Tuesday math, and and Wednesday, Thursday ELA. 3:35 to I got the wrong. No, 3:35, 3:45. They're going to receive snacks from Sedesco. At 5:15 will be dismissal. We do have already communities and schools, which is okay. We have transportation. I thought we can have it at about the same time, so we don't have to worry about transportation, because sometimes that could be a little hiccup. But the dismissal will be at 3:15. What is our focus? Of course, our priority standards, iReady math and ELA data. That'll drive our lesson plans. We also want to have activities in STEM as well. Kids need a little bit of fun. I think STEM would kind of create that and keep them interested in our program. We need some fun, and then STEM program activities are a lot of fun, and kids need that, and that'll keep them coming to our program. Teachers will meet to discuss the curriculum. They will use our Ready Tutoring program that we have. They have lesson plans also for our teachers to help them. Math will be using daily fluency and skill practices. They will have informational meetings prior to, during, and after the program. So we have the instructional coach and myself. We're going to meet with the teachers, talk about the lesson plan, what we're going to use with data. We will have data every week with the iReady passages that is going to help us with our lesson plans with our students. Of course, the transportation, you know, we're going to have a list. We have the listings of students with addresses to the transportation. We have going to have walkers, of course, and we're going to have car riders, and we're going to make sure that all these kids make it home safe. Of course, we're going to use Tedesco for the snacks before tutoring. And that's all, folks. Any questions?
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Okay. That's all, folks.
Help me out. Help me out. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm here to present East Chicago Central High School Winter Tutoring Proposal for 2022. All right, first, student participation will be students of all grade levels needing additional academic support. The academic support would include, we're going to focus on our tests that we have coming up next semester. First, ASVAB. We have ASVAB next semester, so we will be providing support for ASVAB. We have 2 military people, teachers that's in the school that will be helping us with the ASVAB test and getting the kids prepared for it. I-STEP, we got 1 more round of I-STEP left with our seniors, so we will be providing English and math support for our I-STEP students that have to take it 1 more time in order to successfully graduate. Also, as you know, we'll be transitioning to the SAT this coming up semester. So we also talked about having English and math tutoring for our SAT students. Ingenuity, we know, is always big at the high school as far as our kids finishing up, getting their credits and graduate. So we thought about providing that additional time for Ingenuity because a lot of our kids go home to a lot of chaos, sort of. They don't get that quiet time at home. So we figured we provide that quiet time, extended quiet time at the end of the day with Ingenuity. Our kids could finish up a lot of their Ingenuity. Also, other core subject supports, say if a kid, we thought about if a kid need additional help in English, but they already probably passed I-STEP or ASVAB, we also will provide that support for our kids as well for English, math, for all our core subjects as needed. All right, tutoring schedule. We'll start quarter 3. We said we'll start January 24th and go to March 18th. Quarter 4, April 4th to May 19th. As I put we figured the above dates are subject to change based on what we have going on at the high school. Also, we're looking to do it Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 3 days a week. We tried to make sure we did our time so that transportation will be available for all 3 levels, middle school, high school, and elementary. So we decided to go 2:45 to 4:15, and snacks will be provided from 2:30 to 2:40. Like Ms. Hernandez-Orange said, I'm a sports-minded guy. That still give us our athletes time to go to tutoring, and they can catch the 6:30 bus, the athletic bus, to go home. And also, a lot of the coaches have been asking about tutoring. All right. All right, student and parent notification. At the high school, we will have students will sign up through a Google form provided by building administrators. Also, we will have it available at the school. If a parent want to come in, they can come in and sign up. Forms will be available for January 10th, from January 10th to the 21st. We also will do a robocall. Will be sent out to parents informing them of our upcoming tutoring session. Also, we will post it to the central website. The counselor is going to post it to their website, and also it'll be posted on Canvas. Any questions? Like Ms. Karoga, that's all, folks.
Any questions? I personally do have a question. I don't think it's for them, but I think it's for Superintendent. Are we paying extra to those tutors? And if so, I'm assuming it's coming out of the ESSER fund, but can you explain that?
Absolutely. Yes, we are paying for the tutors. So teachers that sign up will be paid the hourly rate according to our collective bargaining agreement, and we'll be paying for those out of the title funds. Because although we have ESSER funding, we still have our title funds that the state will give to us that we still have to draw down every single year. So we're looking at those funds as well.
And my second question, we had a presentation regarding EL, and I think one thing that came to mind is we see pixelated images, right? So those students are probably the ones that do need the tutoring. Are we trying to focus or have, paras that will help EL students? Because I'm assuming they're probably the group that will be targeted.
Well, equity is important, so no one's going to be turned away because of a language barrier or any other reason. So when those students, it's kind of like with our students with our IEP. So if they end up coming to tutoring, then Mrs. Pohl, if there was a student with an IEP, we'd have to provide that support for a para or from a para who's a special ed para for that specific student. The same thing and the same opportunities available to our English learners as well.
All right, that's all I needed. Thank you.
And I want to say thank you to the principals for taking time to present this evening. I really appreciate it. I know it was let's get these tutoring plans together on top of everything else, but it was important for us to communicate that to the public so that they know what we're doing so they can plan for their families.
Thank you. And next we'll go into Superintendent Remarks.
All righty. Few things. First off, I want to talk about COVID-19. We know that there's a new variant out, and I wanted to just update everyone on this particular new Omicron variant. So we still continue our partnership with the East Chicago Health Department, and we're monitoring data in our buildings. We do have our COVID navigator who collaborates closely with our building nurses to track our students and staff. The dashboard is updated every Monday. It was updated right before, well, I want to say about 3-something this afternoon. So she is very diligent about making sure that the data is updated on a weekly basis. So I want to say to our parents and guardians, we also need you to contact the nurse in your student's building if your son or daughter tests positive for the virus, because that contact tracing is very important, and it really is most effective when we all are in close communication. So that's for our parents and for any other person that may test positive. We have a district newsletter. It is our S'mores newsletter. It is our plan to send a district-wide communication every 3 to 4 weeks. Our next digital newsletter will be sent right before the holiday break. Speaking of COVID-19 and vaccinations, we have our last vaccination clinic for the calendar year at Harrison Elementary on December the 20th. Parents will need to be present for their students to receive the vaccination. On our website now, we have pulled out a tab called Finance. So there's a specific tab on our website called Finance. And this will help us to be able to, you all as constituents, to be able to locate budget information as well as requests for proposals on upcoming projects. This information should be more easier for our constituents to access. Tomorrow, December 7th at 5:30, we do have a public work session. The agenda has been created and is posted on our website. This past Saturday, which was December the 4th, we partnered with the City of East Chicago to support their toy drive. It was exciting to see our students and staff volunteer their time to support this community initiative. On December the 12th, which is this upcoming Sunday, this is our annual holiday meal drive-through. The times will be from 12 p to 2 p at East Chicago Central High School, Door R. There's a 6 meal maximum per family, or per vehicle. So if we run out, I think we only have so many meals we're distributing, so we'll get there early and we will see you guys this upcoming Sunday. There are flyers on our website and throughout the community in both English and Spanish. And Enchanted Backpack. On November the 23rd of 2021, Harrison Elementary received a donation of various supplies from Enchanted Backpack. The total amount of items received totaled $40,000. They receive items such as clothing, hygiene, games, incentives for students, craft items, recess, sports equipment, school supplies, books, decorating supplies for teachers. We are extremely grateful for their generous donation to Harrison Elementary. And I want to say thank you to the board members who were able to go out in that cold day, because it was cold, to while the vans pulled up. So what I like to do is end. We do have some video footage that I like to share, and George is going to cue it up for us. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about how you found out about this bridge. I know another school that did it. I know Mr. Dillon know about it, and she just made the rest happen. It was an interview and application process, and she went through the whole process, and we were chosen to receive all the products.
Where's the first one? So how many schools are you?
Well, if the whole school is out here, we should have about 400 kids out here. Looks like we're almost at that. Maybe some of our littler ones might have stayed inside.
So what do you hope is in this enchanted package?
Well, the teacher in me is super excited about the book. I know that we're gonna probably get some quotes for our kids. I know that several of them need some school supplies that our teachers could definitely use. Sometimes they even send hugs and things like that for the teachers' time to do, which I know the teachers would be excited for. Our teachers are some of the hardest working that I've ever met, and I know that they deserve this much. Thank you for all that they do for them.
That's awesome. We're really happy for you guys here in Chicago.
We're excited. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you so much. That's it for me. Thank you. And thank you again for coming out because you guys were out there in the cold hanging out. So thank you.
No problem. And next we'll move to the trustee remarks. Are there any trustee remarks?
Yes.
President.
Trustee Smith.
I just want to say thank you all to the community for your donations. That was an affair. It was really needed. And I'd like to thank the donations from the hats from Harrison. Everything that you donate, everything that you give, your time, your talent, and your treasure, you have no idea how it helps a household. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's continue to work together to try to make this community work, not only for our students in education, the tutoring, the clothing, everything. It means so much. Those of us that have, we should be truly, truly thankful that we are blessed to have what we have. And there's so many children and families that don't have. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, want to say thank you. And to the community that's listening, please continue to work together to try to make our community better. Whether it's with your love, your teaching, your books, your prayers, let's come together for 2022 and let's make this a great year. Let's work together so that our children will be able to advance socially and emotionally. And thank you.
Trustee Gomez?
Excuse me, yes. I'm also thankful for the donations and the efforts by our staff Locally, I think we're doing the best we can, but I know at the state level, there's seemingly opposition to public education, particularly to communities where minorities exist. And to that end, I just wanted to ask the superintendent to review the resolutions that I proposed at a previous meeting so that we can have them on our agenda for our next meeting. I think they're important not only for this school district, but for other school districts. And I'd like to be the leader in something. And I think this would be a good place for us to start to be a leader and standing up to the forces down in Indianapolis that work against public education. Thank you.
Any other trustee remarks? I do have a couple. First, I would like to recognize Don Castelo Perez Sr. He was a former soccer coach at Washington High School, as well as Central High School for many, many years. He was a father to a former teacher, Castelo Perez Jr., and he was also a coach, or who also was a coach and teacher at Central High School. The board approved for his name to be placed on the soccer/track complex because of his continued dedication to the Cardinal family. Don Perez might have been small, but he was very mighty. He was a coach, but a father figure to many. Our Cardinal soccer family is hurting for his loss, and I would like to send condolences to all of them, as well as his actual family. Don Perez will forever be a Cardinal. I would love to make sure that we try and get the names on the soccer/track field, because unfortunately he was not able to see it when he was living, but we need to follow through what we wanted to do for him. Now to end with happy notes, I want to give a round of applause to our new CUBE Steering Committee member, Joelle Rodriguez. The CUBE organization is a council of urban school board, urban boards of education. Joelle is representing us and all of us urban individuals at a national level. I know Trustee Gomez just made mention to some of the problems that we see downstate, and now we have someone on the steering committee who can work nationally to focus on finding ways to better our urban school districts. And the final thing, or no, I don't. Okay. I also want to say that this weekend for the City of East Chicago's toy giveaway is a success, and it's in part due to the collaboration we had with the school City of East Chicago, as well as many of our students and our sponsors who participated. We had many representation of student groups, and at the end of the day, us collaborating together definitely worked. I am extremely excited to see School City and the city come together for one thing, and that was the students. And you definitely saw that this weekend. If you saw a child that passed through in their car, they were extremely happy. With that being said, to anyone who's watching, if for some reason you were not able to come, then we will definitely be able to give out your gifts. Please call the park department. But I want to tell you, our student workers, they worked. They were running around all over the place. Afterwards, ROTC were breaking down, putting a lot of the blow-ups and stuff away. I mean, and you didn't have to ask them to do anything twice. They did it. They saw how happy the kids were, and I think they just wanted to be part of that. And hopefully, by them continuing to do that, we will find future leaders for the City of East Chicago. So I'm excited to be able to continue those opportunities for them. Again, thank you very much for collaborating. And I did receive a message that the Student Government / National Honor Society is sponsoring a holiday celebration on December 18th titled Winter Wonderland. This event will take place from 3:30 to 5:30, for health reasons, this is a drive-through and truck event only. In addition to safety precautions, there will be a diligent, cautious health for volunteers and attendees. This Winter Wonderland is a way to give back to the students and the community, and they are asking for donations. I'm assuming that that's going to be approved soon. And the reason why they're seeking donations is not only to give to every student, but they're also asking teachers as well as committed stakeholders to give recognition to students in the categories of most valuable student, most improved student, best attitude, best attendance, most likely to brighten the day of others. This event I attended last year, and it's sponsored by, again, Student Government National Honor Society, but the students were the ones who planned absolutely everything, and anyone who came to Central High School, they were given something, and I know they received donations, I want to say, from multiple teachers and admins, and they were giving gift cards. So a great event, literally planned by students, if I'm correct. I know the Principal Brown's here, and he was there, and he could add to what I was saying. So that's it for me. Any other trustee remarks?
Madam President.
Trustee Williams.
It was a gentleman that worked for School City of East Chicago for 20 plus years that passed away this past week. Mr. Antonio Tony Carr was a advocate sports fan. He was a janitor at Westside Junior High School, where I graduated from. Passed away this week. So if we can, with him being a School City employee, Dr. Finn, if we can send something to his family. He was a true advocate, fan of our boys basketball program, our sports program just within our city. He supported our students from elementary school all the way through high school. So if we can keep his family in prayer, I thank you all for that. Appreciate it.
Next, we will move to public forum.
Good evening. As you all may know, the School City of East Chicago has an official policy governing public participation and comment during its meetings. That policy can be found on the district's website if you've not reviewed it. As a brief reminder, I would ask that you please state your name and your address when you step to the podium. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. We would ask that you be courteous to the audience, to the board members, and to the staff. Thank you.
We got one person, Patty Gibson. Okay, well, we have no one. Madam President.
Our next date and time for the meeting will be on, I always forget, sorry, to mark it down ahead of time. On December the 22nd, 21st, 20th. Oh, because of the break. My apologies. And that will be at 6 p.m. and that will be here. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Madam President, make a motion to adjourn.
Trustee Rodriguez makes the motion for adjournment. Trustee Smith seconds. Ms. Bigum, roll call.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith, Chairman Hernandez on.
Yes.